we do have hope. One man stands out above the rest, and that man is Tucker Carlson. Joe Rogan says Tucker Carlson could win the presidency in 2028 if the fired Fox News host decides to run. He is no nonsense. Why doesn't Joe have Tucker on his show? That would be the biggest. I think it'd be the biggest episode he's ever done. As of right now, it would be the biggest podcast probably ever done.
But then does Rogan have to go on Tucker's show? Like, who goes on whose show first?
Actually, well, look, hold on.
Simulcast it.
If I think if right now Joe and Tucker did an episode, it would be potentially the biggest podcast ever done. But if Joe and Trump do a podcast,
it's the biggest
ever done.
It's the most beautiful on top of that.
Most beautiful.
Joe Trump and Tucker Carlson on the
let's go
on the Culture War.
Let's go, dude.
Oh, right over there.
Yeah, right. But if you got Rogan, Carlson, and Trump in one room for one like 2 or 3 hour conversation,
be amazing.
Everyone in the world would be listening in.
Do that at Mar-a-Lago.
Jeez.
I would absolutely love that.
That would be awesome.
I don't think that Tucker has any. I don't think he's going to run.
No.
Yeah.
Why would you want to if you're him? Like, you get to do whatever you want right now from Maine, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you live your life, you get to have fun guests on, you have enormous influence, but you don't have the restrictions that the president does or the responsibilities of the president.
And if you think Tucker's not paying attention to the fact that, they're trying to put Trump in prison, like he's a father. Do you think that he's going to risk jail time to tell the truth to the American people? I don't think so.
And I think someone like Tucker, someone that is that much of an outsider, or at least treats the establishment and specifically the security and intelligence apparatus that the government built, that treats it with such disdain and speaks so frankly about it. Right. I think that he would be a target right away. And he would be targeted by that apparatus in a similar fashion to the way that Trump was.
The big issue, though, is how much power Tucker would have to give up to be president.
Right.
He wouldn't become more influential. He wouldn't gain more. It would be less.
Yeah. It'd be a different power, though. I like theoretically, if the figurehead position of president actually has any true power, he would be able to remedy some of the things that he's pointed out with his journalism.
Trump shows that it does.
Okay, tell me.
Well, I think for the most part, they expect presidents to be figureheads who fall in line and just march in lockstep. You're allowed to affect domestic policy, negotiate amongst your party, but don't screw with our plans. The fact that they are so desperately trying to destroy Trump shows when you're the president, you have the power.
Yeah, you can do
something. Now, they may defy you. Lie, cheat, and steal, keep our troops overseas. But Donald Trump can go on television and say, I, as the president, hereby order it be done. And now they're in trouble.
Yep. Do you guys buy this QAnon thing that's happening?
What?
Over the past 48 hours, there was this lady that puts out this video where she's talking about how, like, I can't even break it down. It's so nutty sounding to me. But Trump then truthed it, whatever that means. And then, like, General whatever his name is, the guy that got thrown in jail and then got released.
Flynn?
Yeah, Flynn.
Nah, the Q stuff is nonsense.
But Trump is pumping it though, dude. Like he's going hard on it. I've never seen anything like it.
That's terrible.
What are you even talking about?
Yeah, what does she say?
It's just it's like a 5-minute video. She says a bunch of bonkers stuff. I don't know if any of it's legitimate, guys.
You can't introduce some of it and then not explain it.
I can't explain it. It sounds totally crazy.
Now you have to do a video on it when you get home.
They said that it was like the United States is a corporation that's bankrupt, and Joe Biden's the president of this bankrupt corporation, but Trump is still the actual president.
No!
Yeah, dude. See, this is what I'm talking about.
When did he post this?
I think it was yesterday. I think.
No.
A couple days ago? I don't know. It wasn't that long ago.
I'm looking at his truth right now. I'm going back to I don't see anything. What am I missing? What am I supposed to be looking for?
There's this older lady that was on the news
on Fox?
in Europe. No, in Europe.
I don't know. Bro, 3 days ago, well, he retruthed these.
Maybe he deleted it. I don't know.
Well, these are retruths. He's retruthing old
retruth.
Again, he should have made it trumpet, and then he'd be retrumpeting something. I don't understand.
Okay, here's one day ago. He says rigged election, blah blah blah. No, look, I'll just tell you that the U.S. is a corporation stuff is.
It sounds like nonsense to me, but I don't know.
It is nonsense. Ron DeSantis is getting roasted consistently, no matter what he does or says. But he made a really good point that I completely agree with. on the 2020 election. He said, whoever puts their hand on the Bible on January 20th won. I've been saying something very similar. Trump lost. And they're like, no, he didn't, no, he didn't. I'm like, yes, he did. Because if he won, he'd be standing up there winning. This, what really grinds my gears is that people think this is the one time there was malfeasance in an election or something like ridiculous. As if the entirety of elections have always been some dirty, underhanded scheme to find loopholes to gain power. Always. Perhaps the shadow campaign, as described by Time magazine, is the worst we've seen it.
Right.
Fair point. But there's powerful global interests, big businesses, light bulb manufacturers. They're trying to make LED lights. I'm half kidding. They are, but there are powerful people in this country who want to win, to set law and policy, and they will do whatever they can to get it. That means this idea that election day is some holiday where we all smile, walk down to the voting booth, wave, and then shake hands and say, I'm going to cast my vote for this person. Best of luck to your candidate, sir. And then when the news comes in saying, well, unfortunately, your candidate was shy by 5 votes, they go, oh, well, gee golly, I'll try harder next time. Has never been the case.
No.
People have always been doing shady stuff. There's always been lies and manipulation, and they will do whatever so that on the 20th, they can stand before this country and say they won.
Yeah.
Winning is not about this hokey vision of people casting a ballot.
Well, I think
it's war.
I think, well, that's the thing that's changed though in my lifetime is that now when you lose a federal election, you feel like there's a chance that you and your loved ones might go to prison. And I'm not even being really hyperbolic because had Trump won, the January 6th stuff probably, even if it were to have transpired, it wouldn't have ended up with people serving massive time. But that's really where we're at now is where depending on which side wins, the other side feels as if they are jeopardized in an existential fashion. Mm-hmm. And that's disturbing.
I think maybe I found the video that you're talking about. This one from GB Views.
That's the one.
And what is it? She will it play?
It's long, dude. Don't even.
It's long.
Don't go there. And honestly,
it's 10 minutes long. There's no way we're going to be able to break that down. And it's like a screen grab of someone from Turkey watching British news.
But Trump puts it out. He retruthed it or whatever. So he's like, this is brilliant. This woman, and I'm like, this sounds like the
is it this girl with the blonde hair?
No. It's an older lady that they're interviewing.
Someone just tweeted it at me.
Okay,
I'm definitely gonna watch it later.
Yeah,
Bill's gonna give you a full review tomorrow.
We have this super chat from Nick Long. He said, Q is real. Look up X22 report for actual information on Q. The info y'all have is half-truths. Why does the media attack Q so much? Think about it. I'll tell you why. Look, the media is a lot of liars and a lot of activists, and we still use a lot of these sources. We just have to fact-check them. Yeah, I'll tell you my views on this stuff. First, a lot of it is, when this stuff first started coming out and people were tweeting about Q, I was like, I don't know, I'll take a look at what this is. And then sure enough, there was a lot of garbled gibberish nonsense.
Right.
And there were a lot of Nostradamus style statements where it was like, the raven has lifted, the suitcase has been deposited, Saturday comes. And people would start taking these posts and then dissecting what they could mean with news reports. And I'm like, okay, y'all lost it.
It's that Taylor Swift lyrics.
Then I actually met some people. And I had a guy ask me if I would report on Trump becoming president on March 7th or whatever the date was. And I was like, my friend, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And he was like, no, man, you got to be the real news. This is true. You got to look it up. And I was like, I did. It's not true.
Right.
And then sure enough, Trump did not become president.
Well, see, that's the thing that rubs me the wrong way about this. My aunt did the same thing to me. She's like, Clint, you have a political podcast. You got to talk about this stuff. I was like, I think it's all nonsense. I'm sorry, Auntie, but it's just the history of it is not good.
I had someone come to me after the election, 2020, and they said, why aren't you reporting on the fact that Trump did win and that he's still the president and that he's going to be brought in March and Biden is not really the victor? And I was like, what are you talking about? What makes you believe this? And he was like, you're going to look so dumb when Trump is inaugurated on March. And I was like, honestly,
inaugurated in March.
I said, if it's true that that does happen, I didn't say anything about it, so I won't look one way or the other. Right. If I come out right now and do a whole segment about how it's not going to happen, sure, maybe, but I'm not even talking about it at all because it's nonsense.
Right.
But here's what happened. They said in March, first it was like, it'll be the real inauguration will be January, then February, then March. Yeah. Then they talk about how it used to be that inauguration was in March, but after the Civil War, it changed and they shifted it back. And there's a reason for that. You can read the history. It's about them trying to stop short and lame duck sessions or something like this. Then they were like, after March, they were like, well, that's because it's actually going to be in June. And I'm like, oh, and then June came around, nothing happened. And they're like,
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's because my favorite conspiracy theory with the Q stuff was that Joe Biden was actually already arrested and that he was secretly pretending to be president to shield Donald Trump because we were at war with Russia.
That's
just
wild. But you
that's
know,
wild.
as opposed to being a doomsday cult where you constantly extend the calendar window by which your prediction has to come true, they are a hopium cult. Where like the deadline by which the good thing that's supposed to happen that will never happen, it gets extended 60 days every time. It drives me nuts. But anyways, Trump actually was like fully acknowledging these insane ramblings of this Q
That's
lady.
worrisome.
And I was like,
worrisome.
this is the reason I brought it up to Tim actually is because here's the two options. Trump is either he's actually in on this Q thing and it's real, which I don't believe at all, or he's lying to his supporters and leading them on with this nonsense, which is not a good thing, or he's actually duped by it, which is maybe the worst possible outcome. So, like, is there a good option as to why Trump's doing this?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
think so. It's either Blue Anon or it's 4chan just playing a fun game. Right. And I can't tell you what it is. But
Or PSYOP.
Or a PSYOP. That's why I say Blue Anon. So.
Well, Blue Anon is Democrats.
Well, yeah.
Blue Anon is like Democrats who believe in Russiagate and all that other nonsense, and they're like, it's the same thing.
Right.
And it breaks my heart a little bit that these people refuse to actually recognize the world in front of them. Thus, the deep state wins.
Well, that's why I've always assumed that QAnon was a psychological operation because it completely defanged people during this time where you would have expected them to be absolutely out of their minds furious. And they're like, no. It's all part of the plan, you know?
Yep. At the time when you needed activists to be filing lawsuits, to be showing up with signs in front of courthouses, making demands for redress of grievances.
Exactly.
They actually all just stayed at the computers and were like, whoa.
Exactly.
I'll just sit here because it's all part of the... Trust the plan. Yep. Trust the plan as it all gets swept away. Now Donald Trump's facing 641 years in prison.
Yes.
It's all part of the plan.
Well,
trust the plan, everybody.
They did say where we go one, we go all. So now they're all going to prison. It's I didn't think I don't think they thought it was going in that direction though.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Trump's now facing 641 years in prison because all these people trusted the plan.
Right.
It's unreal.
Yep.
Crazy.
Seems like not a great
No.
plan, in my
Trump
opinion.
is being indicted. It's part of the plan. Yeah, the Democrats' plan, dude. The whole plan was from the Democrats the whole time.
Yep. That's why I keep saying Blue Anon because it just that's what it is. I mean, come on.
It's nice though, because now whenever you don't want to explain your decisions to someone, you say trust the plan, and they have to.
Yeah, trust the plan. The deep state whispered to President Trump, "You cannot withstand the storm." The president whispered back, "I am the storm."
I mean,
I'm just
From his
imagining.
account.
I'm imagining Trump in an orange jumpsuit in a prison somewhere, whispering like, "I'm the storm." I'll see when I get out of here.
well, this is why I'm so disturbed because, like, I know you've got a lot of hope for him in his second term. Theoretically, if he were to actually get through it, and it's actually a legitimate election, and all blah blah blah. But like, if he's actually buying this nonsense, what does that portend for the conservatives moving forward?
There's no such thing as a quote unquote legitimate election. This is what I always try to tell people because they're like, "Oh, this wasn't fair," and whatever. And I'm like, dude, every election they do something to gain an edge. There is no world in which we all right here today say, "Hello, everyone. I would like to vote on what we order for dinner. I propose pizza. How do you vote, sir?"
Pizza too.
Okay, we have 2 votes for pizza. And then we all sit down and we count the ballots and we go, "Wow, pizza wins." And then we all high five. That's never happened. Quite literally, it's like, "Hey, everybody, I'm voting on whether or not we're going to have pizza. And I have these military votes. There's 10 of them for pizza. Your votes don't matter."
Right.
There's always been some weird nonsense. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.